Hello everyone. Welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour this week. We're almost to the end of September, into that pretty active season for us here in the piano industry. People going back to school, getting their pianos tuned and taken care of, all the way up to Christmas and New Year's. So it's a good time of year for everyone. And also academically, a lot of things are getting warmed up, and that's a good nod to our theme today, where we'll have a lot of folks at institutions and in academia in the music world to speak to today, as we're featuring Stretto Pianos and Hanna Reimann once again. I'll give a quick introduction for the newbies here who are out on the socials on YouTube and Facebook and whatnot. And then I'll hand it over to our featured guests today, led by Hanna and Carol Leone. So just quickly though, where are you today? You are at Piano Tech Radio Hour. And what we do is gather here every Saturday to meet with and learn from the most fascinating and knowledgeable folks in the piano world, including manufacturers, rebuilders, musicians, makers of other instruments, and of course, piano techs. Our mutual goal is to become better at our craft, to help each other, and to create an ever more musical world together. Piano Tech Radio Hour is brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses. It's an online learning resource that brings you cutting-edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. You can find out more at pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. You can also subscribe to Piano Tech Radio Hour at bit.ly/joinptrh, bit.ly/joinptrh. I'll put some other links in the chat today so you can learn more about what we do here at Piano Technicians Masterclasses and Radio Hour. But right now, I'd like to hand it over to Hanna Reimann to sort of kick us off with today's session, and I'll bring her into the spotlight.
Hello, everyone. Thank you to Ethan Janney and Piano Tech Radio Hour for supporting Stretto Piano Concerts and the annual International Stretto Piano Festival. We are so delighted to be part of this podcast. Some brief announcements, and then I really am so excited about this particular podcast, including professors from around the world. The fourth annual festival will take place from May 25th to June 2nd, 2024. And our goal this year is to have as many live in-person concerts everywhere to generate happy audiences, media coverage, create community, and share our pianos with the general public after the concerts take place in whatever way we all can. Please host live concerts for even one of the 9 days of the festival or more, and we will be on the map with much more power and grace than ever. Contact us about this, and we will do the same for you, strettopianoconcerts.org. Leading up to this are two other events, which I will be emailing everyone about: recordings taking place in Brooklyn, New York at Bedford Studio and Greenpoint, and hopefully elsewhere in the world, so we can release recordings and create a Spotify playlist and other playlists, making recordings, and just join us to do these in your own location, and let's build this Stretto piano community worldwide on the air. We will create a premier online event called Rachmaninoff, His Friends and Contemporaries in February 2024.
Recording in progress.
Rachmaninoff lived during a pivotal time for the grand piano, 1873 to 1943. He was 6'6", and he could reach from a C to an A that's nearly 2 octaves that he could reach with one hand. Even people who have large hands sometimes have trouble with his music in terms of stretches, and we believe that we will attract an even wider number of pianists for this event, possibly incorporating artists from it into the 2024 festival. In addition to Rachmaninoff, Prokofiev, Stravinsky, and others, we will include the music of Joseph Hoffman and our advisor and comrade, composer David Amram, who was born in 1930. This may become an ongoing project. Very importantly, 4 manufacturers, Steingraber Piano in Germany, Hailun Piano in China, Kaduk in the Netherlands, are providing Stretto pianos, keyboards, or both to global clients. So all our dreams are coming true. Thank you to Ethan Janney for interviewing David Clavins on PTRH. Stretto Piano Concerts and I now have an alliance with Clavins, which is now offering Stretto keys for its Una Corda piano. We are extremely excited about this alliance, and I will share much more about it. We want to thank Rhonda Boyle for her recent and longtime scouting and travels, faithfully pursuing the PASC initiative, and for being a global liaison to Stretto Piano Concerts and the growing community and movement of Stretto performers and audiences. Learn more about all of this on strettopianoconcerts.org. Now, without further ado, I am so delighted to introduce my treasured colleague, Dr. Carol Leone, Chair of Piano Studies at SMU's Meadow School of the Arts, a pioneer and champion of stretto pianos in the academic world, plus the person who thought of the term stretto, which we have coined as a generic term for all the various narrow key instruments we know are multiplying all over the world, plus those that have existed for centuries. Please welcome Dr. Leone and her esteemed colleagues, all professors of piano on various levels.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I'm so thrilled that you invited us to be here today, and thank you, Ethan. This is a wonderful forum, and I'm so glad that we're able to gather here. We do have now stretto pianos, or alternatively sized keyboards, or DS keyboards. We have many names. Today we're going to use stretto, I think, mostly. We do have them at nearly 20 universities across the globe right now. And today we have represented 6 of those universities. So the colleagues that are with us today, Dr. Kathy Leisinger at SMU Meadows, where I also teach, and we have Leslie McAllister, Baylor University, Barbara Listersink, Salem College, Jennifer Hagee at the University of Colorado Boulder, Tina Chong at San Diego State University, and Ulrike Wohlwender. She's at the State University of Music and Performing Arts in Stuttgart, Germany. So we are all in turn going to just speak for a few minutes to share what we're doing at our respective universities and our own personal experiences with the keyboards. So I will start and tell you a little bit about what's going on at SMU Meadow School of the Arts in Dallas, Texas. So I'm a professor and chair of piano studies, and I've been at SMU since I guess it's 1996. And one of the first things I did was actually bring the keyboards to SMU. So we have had the keyboards at SMU since 2000, so for 23 years now. And we provide these alternate sizes for our students and faculty. We have 2 alternate sizes that we offer, so both the DS 6.0, which is the 6-inch octave, and the DS 5.5, which is the 5.5-inch octave. We have 4 keyboards for grand pianos, and those are in our studios, in our concert halls. Plus, we have several uprights in the practice rooms. And we have Walter uprights and some others as well. One of the first things we did is we conducted some research. So this was the first study ever done on stretto pianos. And it was a qualitative study. The results were in the 2003 American Music Teacher. And the article that I wrote, based on the research that my students and I did, is called Goldilocks Had a Choice. So the students journaled for almost an entire year about their experiences on the keyboard. And that article is something that describes really what the benefits were for the students, what their total experience was. And these were not just students who had small hands. At SMU, the students can practice on the keyboards, they can take lessons, And they can perform in studio class, they can perform in the departmental performance class in the hall, and they can perform in their recitals, elective or degree recitals, and they can make recordings. So it's being used in all these ways. Mainly, it's given our students expansion of repertoire. So where their repertoire might have been here, now it's out to here. And so that's so important for them, not only as performers, but also as probable future teachers, for them to have the experience of being able to play the entire repertoire. And then also the second important benefit is prevention of injuries and even healing of injuries. And then also students can, even if they decide not to perform on these keyboards, they can still use them. They provide excellent instruction in physical relaxation, so they could learn their repertoire first on the smaller keyboard and then take it to the larger keyboard and have built-in relaxation instead of having built-in tension. So those are just some of the main benefits. My own personal experience as a teacher, performer, it's been a game changer for me. And I've been using, I play all three keyboards, the standard and the two alternate sizes. And it has expanded my repertoire. It has prevented me from being injured. And, I consider it an extension of my playing career as I have, aging small hands. So that's my story from my point of view at SMU Meadows School of the Arts. And I would like to then turn it over to my colleague, Catherine Leisinger. She has some of the same roles and some different roles at SMU. And so she has, her own point of view. Kathy, would you tell us about your roles?
Yes, thank you, Carol. So I'll piggyback on a lot of what you said and the work that you do. At SMU, I also have an applied studio, so I have graduates and undergraduate piano majors. I'm also the coordinator of piano pedagogy. And so in that capacity, we've had a lot of work with a very robust preparatory program that we have at SMU. Every year we have about 50 children who are studying with myself and two other faculty colleagues, and many of them study exclusively with our graduate students in pedagogy. So Carol and I have been able to collaborate in that capacity on occasion. We'll do that throughout the school year, where some of the children are actually borrowing some of the instruments that Carol mentioned. We've been able to collaborate in our summer institute, where Jennifer's also been a guest, and will sometimes host, or I suppose Carol will coordinate opportunities for the children to play on these instruments, and she'll measure lots of hands and be able to engage with the children and expose them to the possibilities. So that's one way that I've been able to use these instruments. I've performed on them a little bit myself, not as much as Carol does, but somewhat. I've had a couple of particular experiences that I probably could not have played the pieces that I was performing with Meadows ensembles had I not had that particular instrument. The 6.0 in particular was one that really helped me in the past. And then very significant experiences for some graduate students that I've had who, as Carol mentioned, they will start repertoire on that. And then knowing that they have to go far and wide to perform in different places, they'll plan so that they can actually play all of their repertoire on both sizes. And so what's that situation has allowed for those people is to minimize and usually most typically avoid any kind of injury altogether, which in my experience, these same people had a lot of injury in the past and then would come to SMU and experience little to none. And so that's been wonderful for them, but even more fulfilling for them as students has been the access to repertoire they never would have played before. And repertoire, for example, classical era pieces that they had played before, they were able to get deeper levels of expression and detail out of those pieces. And certainly, of course, in repertoire that they sometimes had never even played before, especially Romantic era and forward. And so that's been deeply meaningful for those people. So we're fortunate at our school because it's a very multifaceted experience that people have with the Stretto keyboards.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I want to, just take the opportunity to thank all of the professors that are with us today because of the fact, you are embracing innovation, you're embracing inclusiveness, and you're really giving hope and future to the next generation. And I just want to just acknowledge that. So let's continue with a professor in Texas, and we're just down the road a piece to Waco, Texas, Baylor University. We have Dr. Leslie McAllister, and love to hear from her now.
Thank you so much. I'm really privileged to be here among these wonderful piano professors and deeply thankful to Carol Leone for connecting me with some keyboards that we were able to initially get on loan for Baylor University. So I teach at Baylor. It's in Waco, Texas, not far from Dallas. And I'm professor of piano here and direct our piano pedagogy program, and I'm the director of our keyboard division as well. So I've been involved in musician wellness for a long time, but I'm fairly recently hopped on the alternatively sized keyboard bandwagon, having just gotten the keyboards about a year ago. So a little less than a year ago, we got them at Baylor. We received 3 instruments. Actually, one of those is an Action. It's a 6.0 that we have installed in our Steinway B. And I actually keep that in my office at Baylor. And there are a handful of students who use it for practice. So similarly to what Carol and Kathy have said, these are students who either have come in with an injury or are playing through pain and are able to use the instrument to reevaluate their technique, to learn how it can feel good to play the piano, and to then take that approach that they're learning with less tension and integrate into the same repertoire at a regular sized keyboard instrument. We also have uprights. We have 2 Highland uprights. One is a 5.5 and one is a 6.0. Both of these instruments we are keeping in our pedagogy wing, and we use these with our piano laboratory program. So similarly to SMU, we have a children's program. It's not as large as the preparatory program there, but it is a small program that's just for piano, and it's for 6 to 8-year-old students. So with these instruments, we've been able to give students weekly practice on smaller sized keyboards. And it's really been interesting to have that opportunity to work with the kids. I've always been a little nervous about, for example, middle C methods or multi-key methods, where you're expecting these small fingers to start out in 5-finger positions right from the beginning, where you can see they put their hands in a 5-finger position, and just to have them one finger on a note, they have to stretch out a little bit. But what's been great is to see these small hands when they go on to either the 5.5 especially, but even with the 6.0, it looks like they have this really natural 5-finger position from the beginning without that extensive tension. So it gives them this wonderful foundation for tension-free playing from the very beginning. When we first started using these pianos in the program, we were using a system where we would alternate students. So they would have a week on the alternately sized keyboard, and then they would have a couple of weeks on a regular keyboard. We've changed that approach because we found that it was a little bit hard for them to adjust to the narrower keys if they were only doing it once every 3 or 4 weeks. But we've instead allow our smaller students or our younger students to be on that same piano every week. And it really does help them to adapt and to stay consistent with their technique. And it's been great to see the student teachers who have this newfound appreciation for the smaller sized keyboards. And I think that's actually helped them to be more open to the idea of trying this approach on a narrower sized keys in their own playing as well. So I've seen it, and my students who have tried the keyboard, they're just amazed that they can play in a way that feels really good. And I've also had the opportunity to bring in some community teachers. There was one woman who's in the Waco Music Teachers Association who has always told the story. She had arthritis. During her master's degree, she played through pain for 2 years, barely was able to do her recital. She came in and played on that piano, and she was laughing, and just the joy on her face while she was playing the instrument was truly remarkable to see. I thought, this is really something to give someone back that love and joy of playing that she hasn't experienced in so long. So it's been a great opportunity, and I thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak about it today.
Thank you, Leslie. Yeah, so we do get that experience. It's a wonderful way to vicariously enjoy the first time, when you have other people try the keyboard, and, but we also get, people that will just break into tears, like sobbing. And part of that is maybe joy, but I think also it's lamenting their past. And why didn't I have this before? And if only feelings. So, but it is wonderful to be able to provide people with hope for, expanding what they can do. Yeah. Thank you. That's great to hear what you're doing. Okay. So then our next professor is my dear friend, Barbara Listersink from Salem College. Hi, Barbara.
Hi. Good to see you, Carol, especially in front of that wonderful art, which I remember. Because I was down there and was able to play on that gorgeous concert instrument. So, well, I alternate between joy and anger, actually. Lamentation is something that my students do feel. I am at Salem College. I've been here 38 years. I used to teach at the Eastman School of Music, but for weather reasons, I had to come down south. And I have had a chance actually to develop my specialty, which I love as a performer, is to help prevent injury and to help people recover from injury. So I'm also at an institution that just celebrated its 250th anniversary of being the oldest continually operating institution for females. So you know what I'm about to say. The playing field is absolutely not level. It's preposterous. I weightlift and do deadlifting, and I can't imagine competing and being asked to lift the same amount as a guy that weighs 220 pounds. Same way with tennis, same way with golf, all of this. It's preposterous, and from my viewpoint of having tried to help hundreds and hundreds of pianists who have injuries, who come here to Salem, we have, I think it's the only master's that's in pedagogy and performance with an emphasis in injury preventive techniques. So they're here for 2 or 3 years, and we also have the graduate certificate program as such. And a lot of them are female. It's a co-ed program, but we do have females. We do have largely, I'd say half are females, and some very tiny, under 100 pounds. And we know, and Carol, you of all people, as a pioneer in this, know that probably 50%, I think that's a kind of a general thing, women have twice as likely to get injured. And they, of course, there's correlation with hand size, not completely, of course, but as someone who specializes in this field of biomechanics and neuropedagogy and all of that, and how to help people retrain, there are several hallmarks of efficient playing, and one of them is efficient muscle use, using what you need when you need it, not beyond or before, and the other is optimal alignment. Well, I could do everything under the sun to help my students with both of those, and they will pick up a biomechanical formula, I call it, which is really, really fine. They're able to retrain with a lot of persistence and patience and all of that from the ground up. They do beautifully, but I cannot help them when it comes to taking a very small hand and stretching it to octave chords or beyond, or even less. There's nothing I can do. And the thing is, and what bothers me about watching children on YouTube play, often they're successful because they have extreme hypermobility. Hypermobility in and of itself is not a good thing. It may be cute in a parlor tricks, but what it means, of course, as you all know, is that we're loading up the musculoskeletal system with joints in an inoptimal alignment. So we're wearing them down. And those of us with small hands, I play Rachmaninoff, Scriabin, all of the late 19th century, Gaspar Lanois, the whole thing. And I didn't feel it until the arthritis set in. And now I've lost a great deal of this span. And now I know what my smaller-handed, and some are men, smaller-handed students feel when they are here. And we do have, I'm sitting here with a retrofitted Steinway that's a 6.0, and then we have a Walter, an upright that's 6.0, and we've had these for 20 some years. I jumped on this bandwagon long ago because I was so thrilled. And I went up to David Steinbüller's on my way up to Canada to visit my father-in-law and was just overwhelmed with the possibility. And I see what they go through. I see the tears. They all practice on this. They learn their recitals on this. We don't have a concert grand yet, Carol. I would love to have that. But they practice in here, this lovely sunny room, and it's a 7-foot, and then also on the Walter if they need to. And they find the adjustment not that hard at all. But I'm also careful about the action of our concert grands so that they're not too heavy. But I remember my own experience, and I've watched them with their experience, as you said, the beautiful arch. Suddenly there it is, instead of looking like they're on a rack. And for me, it's made a huge difference now lately. I finally know how they feel. And I think that's one of the reasons, in a way, that we perhaps haven't been able to sell this as much, because people do not know what it feels like to have that pain. I do now. Mm-hmm. And it's a game changer. But Carol, I was down in Texas actually for the Clyburn thing. I did workshops there, the Clyburn Festival, some years ago. And it suddenly hit me. It was like a bolt of lightning. It was a wonderful masterclass. It was, I won't name names or anything, but there was a small woman with small hands, and she was doing a Rachmaninoff etude, and there was a large man who was doing a wonderful masterclass on it. And he put his hand down, and bam, beautiful sound, and he was asking her to get the same volume and the same intensity. And then she put her tiny hand down, and the struggle was just enormous. It was a revelation for me to see that contrast. I thought, wait a minute. And there she is, load bearing on that tiny little hand and basically wearing herself out, most likely. So that was the revelation. But now of late, I've had to change. I either use Brenda Riston's Adaptive Strategies, that wonderful book for small hands, or I leave notes out. Others I don't play, as Piatigorsky used to say. And but I'm still trying to play the same repertory. But I struggle. I do struggle with the arthritic pain, and that's that worn out joint here from all those years of playing the big repertory. But I'm angry, but I like that we're not further ahead, that we even have to be reasonable in our, we have to be reasonable, but it's a no-does, they say, situations like, what? You're gonna ask women, and small-headed people, including men, to do this? When we know there is a high risk for injury. And so since that's what my passion is to prevent that, then we can't push this fast enough for me, or more emphatically enough for the whole world of piano playing. And I'm so grateful to be here with all of you, and to see your incredible work. And Carol, your work as a pioneer is just unbelievable. Just so wonderful. We're grateful, so grateful. And I'm grateful for having the beautiful experience of playing on your piano at SMU. That was just wonderful. It was just fabulous. So thank you all, and thanks for waving the banner and keeping up the fight. Good to be here.
Thank you so much, Barbara. I mean, I always appreciate both your passion and your expertise. and also your beautiful playing. And yes, you're right about women being at such a disadvantage. And when we look at Rhonda Boyle's research regarding women in competitions, we can see that, women are excelling in competitions like the Mozart and Bach international competitions, and yet are really not doing nearly as well as males pianists in those competitions that require the entire repertory. And so if anyone has not taken a look at that research, I recommend that. Okay, so let's move on to Jennifer Hagee at the University of Colorado Boulder. And Jennifer has had the keyboards at her school just recently. So we're going to have a different perspective, someone who is still experiencing the benefits.
I was going to say, I think we're the newest ones to this party. So my name is Jennifer Hagee. I'm chair of the Roser Piano and Keyboard Department at the University of Colorado Boulder. And we are renting a 6.0 which is now housed in a Steinway B in my studio at the moment. And I have to say, Carol just came to campus last week and gave her presentation. We're learning a lot about it. We're feeling all the feels. There's a lot of emotions swirling around about all of this. We decided to go ahead and rent the keyboard because one of our graduate students is doing research on alternative keyboards and smaller hands and adjustment times. But all of us had been exposed to it quite a while ago. I remember it must have been 20 years ago, Carol, when you brought them to one of the MTNA conferences, and, everybody sat down and tried the opening of Rachmaninoff's Second and went, oh my gosh, I can play it. And then we all walked off and said, how nice, but how hard is it to adjust, and didn't really think about it. But certainly as teachers, I think all of us have seen more and more injured pianists come to our studios every year. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's amazing how many students come who are injured. Those of us of a certain age are also discovering how much more difficult it is. For me, the turning point was actually at Baylor University on Leslie's 6.0 that she was talking about that's in her office. I was there last November. I think you all had just gotten the keyboard and you had posted about it on Facebook. And I was there doing a recital and masterclass and judging, and really needed to do some woodshedding. I was a little behind in learning something that I had to perform in a couple of weeks. And I said, I really want to practice on the smaller piano. I want to try it out. I need to really spend this concentrated time, and it would be nice if it all felt good. And it was fantastic. And it took no time at all to adjust to the smaller keyboard. And even more surprising was that after spending that time and coming back to Colorado, it took no time to adjust back to the standard size piano. So as I said, we went ahead and rented it for the year because we also, for all of the support that we have on the faculty for the instrument, we've also just found the funding to be able to think about moving on beyond renting it. My student is doing research on it. The piano is in my studio. The studio is open for student practice in the evenings and on the weekends. A number of my students prefer to have their lessons on that piano. As Carol said, we've seen joy and tears both. I have a student whose hands are so small that she chips her octaves. And she sat down at that piano last spring for the first time and literally cried because she could play everything that she had struggled so hard to redistribute and to stretch and do all of those things. I have several students who practice on nothing but that piano. I have one who is rehabbing from some very serious tension injuries. And while he is learning to use his technique more efficiently, we don't need to add the large stretch to it as well. And so he is enjoying that experience a lot. So I think we're very much hoping to expand our range we're going to move my piano around from studio to studio so that everybody in the department has a chance to use it. As I said, it's open to all of our students right now. There is a lot of enthusiasm. Carol, your presentation last week was so inspiring to so many of the students. I've been hearing about it. And I will say there are a lot more names on that studio practice sign-up sheet than there were before you came. So, and I will say personally, as I said before, I'm kind of feeling all the feels after listening to everything that you had to say and my own experiences with the piano. As someone who I think is known for having a very efficient technique, and certainly not one that that has a lot of tension, and yet I've had a lot of issues over the years, and it's actually kind of devastating to realize that it really wasn't about me. And that even, and I don't have small hands particularly, but even that stretch that we deal with all the time, that maybe a lot of this could have been prevented simply by having this smaller keyboard. So my hope is that we can acquire one that we can find space, a performance space to use it in, because I think a lot of our faculty would enjoy that as well. So we're very excited to be part of this movement and carrying that flag.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jennifer. Thanks for being a champion at your school, but also I have to say, I love the fact that your entire applied faculty and pedagogy faculty is excited and on board with this, and everyone is anxious to have it in their studio too. So that I think is a real testament to the openness of your faculty, and that bodes well for students who want to come to UC Boulder. Yeah. So thank you so much. It was a real joy to be with you all too. And yeah. So let's move on now to the West Coast, to Tina Chung. And Tina is at San Diego State University. Tina, tell us about your role, your position, and how are you using the keyboard, please?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Tina Chung, and I'm an assistant professor as well as the piano coordinator at San Diego State University. First of all, I'm just so honored to be here and hear the experiences of all of you artist teachers from all over the world. I'm just getting over COVID. It's my second week, but I really didn't want to miss the opportunity to be here to join such powerful advocates of this cause. So I'm here. You may hear me coughing a bit, but I'm here. So just quickly, my first experience with this alternative size keyboard, the Stretto keyboard, was in Portland, Oregon, after a performance that I gave there. A local piano teacher kind of accosted me because she noticed the size of my hands when I was playing the Prokofiev Sixth Sonata, and she just, invited me to her home directly after the recital. And I kind of had the same experience as many of you all here. I felt a kind of rage at how hard I had worked for so many years when this alternative had existed for decades, actually, at that point. And it made me question, why do we all play on a keyboard that was built for Liszt's hand, essentially, a supersized hand? And it's not just women, but, my husband is a 6-foot Caucasian male, and he also plays the 6.0, DS 6.0, and prefers it. This size of keyboard, the standard, absolutely doesn't represent the current majority of people who pursue concert careers, but it doesn't even consider the broad population of people that play the piano. And so I'm really energized to advocate for this cause everywhere I perform and in my own teaching. Okay, so at San Diego State University, we have two DS 6.0 keyboards. One is a Heilun upright, and the other is the keyboard that fits in our Yamaha CFX. We also received this as a loan from the DS Standard Foundation, which was really, really such a game changer for us. Thank you, Carol, for instigating that. This one-year loan eventually turned into a purchase last spring. So we now own these two keyboards. Our Heilun upright is in a piano practice room, and all of our piano majors in classical and jazz have access to it. As well, we have our Yamaha CFX in our main concert hall. And so our students give various chamber and solo performances on it. We do only have 2 concert grants in that hall, so we have to deal with changing out the standard size for the alternative size often when it comes to concertos and 2 piano works and things like that. So hopefully we'll be able to purchase another instrument that will allow us to keep the DS 6.0 in the Yamaha permanently. So that's our next step there. Aside from our piano majors, we also make sure that in all of our group piano classes in the labs, so that encompasses 9 courses that we offer for our music majors in piano. We make sure that we spend at least one class acclimating our students to this keyboard, as many of these students go out and teach beginning level piano in various community music schools and things like that. And they also have and purchase pianos for their own use. It's reached quite a large number of people. And I find, especially outside of the, pianists, the culture of pianists, people tend to accept the alternative sizing much more readily because it exists in every other instrument but the piano. Every other instrument has the ability to customize their own instrument for their body. And so it's been really heartening to see that. And I think it's affected our piano majors as well. So far in our piano majors, we've had 4 or 5 degree recitals being performed on these instruments. And I hear the Heilun piano being used all the time, and it's really so wonderful to have it. As well, various community members have reached out to me because of the Pasque Piano website to just come in and try it. So we've had all kinds of amateurs come in inquiring about just trying these out, and I think we've had a lot of success in people purchasing Steinbühler's keyboards. So it's been really wonderful. I think that's about it. In terms, my students' general experiences. Again, yeah, everybody plays the opening of the Rachmaninoff Second Piano Concerto when they sit down at my school. And they're always just in disbelief that they can reach the 10th, I think one of the most important things about this keyboard is that it really allows a growth of artistic choice. The interpretations that we choose aren't confined to what our hands can handle, not only in reaches for chords, but voicing and legato without using pedal and all kinds of techniques. And it also saves so much time by not having to figure out adaptive strategies for all kinds of repertoire, And for me, that's being, having a full-time job, being a mother of 2, I don't have enough time to practice, and practicing on a reduced size keyboard, it just cuts my practicing by, I would say, at least a quarter. So yeah, that's it. I'm so thankful to be in this community of people, and thank you to Hannah for being so powerful in this world. And I hope to continue to contribute through various performances and teachings and convention presentations and things like that to follow in Carol's footsteps, hopefully. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tina. And I have heard from several people over the past few months. It's Tina Chung told me about the keyboard. So you are a wonderful advocate, and I really am very grateful to you for that. And looking forward to hearing you play live as well. I've heard your beautiful recordings, but I'm hoping that you get a lot of opportunity to perform live, particularly on the 6.0 keyboards, and looking forward to hearing it.
Thank you.
So we are now ready to move to Germany to speak with Ulrike Ullwender. And Ulrike, if you could just tell us a bit about yourself and your school, and then either, you can chat with us, or I know you also have a prepared YouTube. So whatever you'd like to do.
Okay, thank you, Carol. I'm Ulrike Ullwender. I'm professor for piano pedagogy in the University of Music and the Performing Arts in Stuttgart. It's in southern Germany. And partly I'm also teaching music physiology at the moment. And that's my second subject, musicians medicine and music physiology. And I'd like to share some slides. Hope that works. Yes, here we are. That's Stuttgart. We are in the south of Germany. And here is Nuremberg. And I have the wonderful news that Nuremberg has joined our future initiative, how we call this, Series 6.0. And they also have a keyboard, now a grand piano, a small one, in a practice room. And until now, we only have one grand piano, in our university. We have the nickname Series 6.0. We started 2020 in January, directly before Corona broke out. And I learned today that we are not the last member in this wonderful circle, and I'm so honored to meet you all. And so it's in a practice room. We wanted to gather experiences to open the theme for our students. We had the opportunity to buy that small baby grant. It's really short, and the keyboard is from Laukhof. The company doesn't exist any longer, but we have it, and we changed a little bit the black keys from the former owner, and we are very lucky with this. And so we are maybe nearly the last member in this circle, but we are maybe the first in Europe as a university to make that step. And the young people and my colleague Annette Seiler, they made the first steps. They played at the first Stretto Piano Festival, and the Strettos are really the main factor for bringing us in energy and doing things. And we are so lucky. Without Stretto, we would not have had money for making videos and so on. And this was 2021, and we made a short image video. And our thing was to make videos, to show what we are doing, to share our experiences. 1 year later, we had one more recital, and we decided to make short videos. We didn't make real research, but we documented. And these were different artists, pianists, guests, piano professors, the two, and students. And their experiences are always the same, very quick adaptation. Those who want to adapt, they mostly adapt very quickly. And some of them have the practice room by accident, and they, oh, it's wonderful. Yeah. So it's just a member in our university, Series 6.0. And you all know these points: less tension, feeling freer, more differentiation, better balancing sound in different words. I don't think I have to explain that. One very interesting point was that the transfer to 6.5 back. That some pianists, lots of pianists told us, oh, I'm playing better when I go back. Yeah, I'm playing better on the 6.0, but I'm also playing better on the 6.5. That's really interesting about learning on differences and so on. Yes, and 1.5 years ago, we had the first public presentation in Stuttgart in presence. So the first premiere was online, and that was a big party, and we had piano technicians and pianists and discussions and so on. And the next smaller party, but very, very important party was with Carol Leone. It was by internet. It was online by Zoom because of COVID, but it was so important as one more step, increasing performance potential. And another thing is the cooperation between the DS Foundation and us and A Loja de Pianos in Sao Paulo in Brazil. It was Sylvia Mulland, my assistant and now colleague, who initiated this cooperation. And we had pianists at the Stratofeather Festival 3 last year and this year. And that's also a wonderful thing with the DS 6.0, thanks to the DS Foundation. And it was a little bit by accident that we had a great symposium in last autumn with interesting people, new pianists, some scientific approaches, historic, psychological, pedagogical, and so on. We tried to put everything together. And I think it was a very important happening. There were piano technicians who told us, oh, it changed my brain. And that's technicians with good contacts to the piano industry. And then this year, we just used our videos again for Stretto. This is Sylvia Mulland, my assistant. And very important this year, 5 weeks ago, we met Rhonda Boyle in Nuremberg. That's Uli Hench. I think he is listening now. We will hear more from Nuremberg next year. They have a wonderful Steinway M restored by a smaller piano manufacturer, Steingräber. We heard the name from Hannah. And this is Aurelia Wiesewan, also a wonderful pianist, also with historic instruments. So we had a wonderful meeting in Nuremberg. They start also in a practice room, and then they will see how they can go on. They are the second now in Europe with 6.0. And later we met with Rhonda in Nuremberg, in Stuttgart. And there was another visitor from Vienna. He's also very interested. We had some public resonance in the last 3 months, radio and print. And the basis of my work and thinking is the research of Christoph Wagner. You all know that his data published 1988 were also the basis, one of the bases before Rhonda and Robin had their own research, and Erika Bucher and you all. But his data are wonderful until today about the individuality of the musician's hand. Looking to 2024, we have applied for the EPTA conference. It's very close for us. It's wonderful. And Steingräber has agreed to provide their own 6.0 grand piano there. So we have nothing to do. They are the first who can do this at the moment. So that will be great. We make a lecture and they will provide the grand piano. And our big thing now in Stuttgart is that we will have an interchangeable keyboard with the same measurements, a Sears 6.0, for one of the Steinway D on this concert stage. And that it will arrive as an interchangeable keyboard in December. We will have parties in April and the first solo recital of Sophia Weidemann in June. And yes, we have to find the money still. I have to work for this. But we are very excited about the step from the practice room to the concert hall. Yeah. This will be a part of our crowdfunding. These are measuring sheets for hand spans from Christoph Wagner and slightly adapted from me with the values of women and men on one sheet. And we have now added, Sylvia and me, a keyboard sheet, and as a thank you, everybody in the world, also in English, may download or receive it by mail in the next months, weeks. Yeah. So thank you all for going on so long time, more than 20 years, Hannah, Carol. And it's much easier for us to do that now. But I think it's high time. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. It's very inspiring, the work that you're doing, Ulrika. I'm very excited about EPTA next year and the Steingraber. And I hear fantastic things about that particular piano, that company. So it's wonderful that, it's such a high level piano, that company is embracing this technology. And very interesting to hear about your measurement sheets. I'm, looking forward to learning more about that too. Your videos that you have provided are just really spectacular, very high quality. Hearing about your future plans, it really is exciting. I know that we're running out of time, but if anyone else has any hopes and dreams for what they want to do next at their university, is there anyone that would like to speak about that right now? I'm hoping that we can now start to do more joint projects. Of course, Hannah brought so many of us together with the Stretto Festival and Stretto concerts. And that's, been fantastic. Thank you so much, Hannah. I also will hope that we can, as professors, find some academic venues for our students to maybe have joint projects and the faculty as well. So this is, just the beginning of us having a forum. And I can't tell you how my heart is full from this afternoon. Thank you, Ethan, and thank you, Hannah, and thank you to all of you that took time to be here today and are giving so much of your time to this project.
Yeah, of course you're welcome. Personally, I'm always excited about innovation in all sorts of directions, and that this is one that's as a few people stated earlier, it's kind of like an obvious one to the people who see that it makes sense. And luckily we are living in a world these days where more customization is possible and more networking around these type of things is possible. So it's great to hear some of these connections that are being made as well. I know you guys have now, I'll say guys, but also there's a lot of ladies mostly here today. You all have connected with, David Clavins, as Hannah mentioned, and Steingraber brand pianos. We had them featured as part of master classes and radio hours several times, and they're a wonderful, wonderful brand. I would say brand, but it's a legacy of pianos that they've been creating for quite a long time, and also extending things on to the future. So that's great that there's some collaboration and connection there. It's good to see that stuff. We can probably wrap up in the next, minute or two, unless there was anything else that anybody wanted to share briefly. Hannah, was there something else, or yes, Carol?
I just wanted to say the ultimate pioneer, I'd had to give a shout out to David Steinbuehler and his DS Standard Foundation. David has devoted a good portion of his life to his mission. And, I am eternally grateful to him and his vision, and also Donison, who he started the company with. And the fact that he's moved this to a foundation is incredible, and that the foundation does lend actions to universities. So anyone that might be listening to this who is affiliated with another university, please reach out to me or to Rhonda Boyle or to David Steinbuehler at the foundation about acquiring a keyboard for a lease period.
Yeah, it looks like we've seen that throughout the episode today, that's a great option for folks to, we saw, someone's leasing one now, and there's previously a lease that turned into a purchase. I can see how, just having the option to have that type of a keyboard around an institution and get people interested in it and playing on it. And of course, the students at universities are the ones that, for the most part, are bringing in the money for it, right? So they have their say means a lot. And so if they find something useful or find that that's something about the university, what they offer that they've appreciated at a high level, then of course that will bring budgets and things for these things. So that's a great campaign that you've been able to put in order. All right, great. Anything else before we wrap up? All right, good. Thank you all so much. Hannah, was there something?
One last sentence.
Yeah.
I left
Oh.
this out of my presentation because I didn't want to take time away, but I would like to talk to Carol about a competition that she had an idea for. We have put together a team for you, and we'd like to get together with you and discuss that as soon as you're ready. We have some steam behind it because I know Carol was on the original one of the artistic directors of the festival when it first started, and she's an advisor to us now. We have a wonderful board of advisors, and that was just always something that I wanted to fulfill, one of her wishes, and we're on it. So please get in touch with me, and we will spread it around to everybody as soon as we can.
Great.
And
Thanks.
Ethan, you're the best. You've made the wheels
Right.
turn in a really wonderful, enjoyable, and innovative way. So we're indebted to you for your platform and a place where we can share. It's this kind of thing and trusting in a community that actually makes the world turn in a better way, I think. So thank you very much for taking interest in all of these communities.
Awesome. Yeah. Great to be a platform where folks can come together that don't always get to connect on a call like this. So that's great. All right. Well, I will say officially thanks to everyone for joining us today. If you're here and you joined us for the first time, or you're just signing up using our session link to join individually, you could make your life more convenient. You could subscribe to Piano Tech Radio Hour. It's just $16 a month. It's about $4 a session. And what you get is you get immediate access to these sessions. The Zoom link goes right to your email inbox. You get the recording of each session in our memory area to review, and the entire archive of all of the sessions that we've done previously. And if you'd like to join Piano Tech Radio Hour, you can just go to bit.ly/joinptrh, bit.ly/joinptrh. And I've put a bunch of other links and master classes that we've done recently and upcoming in the chat during the session today, and also put those out on social so you can review those in the chat wherever you're viewing today. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll catch you later.
Bye-bye.